Hello and welcome to Newsclick. Today we have with us Gautam Navlakha, who is a human rights activist and an author. We are going to discuss about Salwa Judum that has been initiated in Chhattisgarh once again by Mahendra Karma. Hello Gautam.
Thank you.
We have seen in the newspapers that Salwa Judum too, they have been again trying to initiate it in Bastar district. By Mahendra Karma is trying to do it. His father had already started it, which was deemed illegal by the Supreme Court. So what was the reason to start it once again? What are the political backgrounds behind?
I think let's be very clear, because even the Ministry of Rural Development in its report on unfinished tasks of agrarian reforms in India, etc., had mentioned that there was much that happened behind the scenes. So although Mahendra Karma and Mahendra Karma today seem to be taking the initiative in terms of public gaze, actually it's a much bigger game plan than anything being handled by one single individual. It's significant that May 25th was the day chosen, obviously because of the day 5 years back into when Mahendra Karma was killed by the MoUs in an ambush. But the date is also significant because few days prior to that, Narendra Modi visited Dantewada and announced rupees 24,000 crores worth of MoUs which were signed. How many of them would get realized on the ground is a separate matter. But the point is that there is a similarity between this and what had happened in 2005 June, because on 5th June, the government of Chhattisgarh signed an MoU with Tatas, and few days before that with Essar. Immediately after that, Salwa Judum got formally launched. This time again, the dates became a matter of confusion because a lot of people protested against. The Maoists also came out with their warning. Congress party decided that they'll have nothing to do with it, and many people cited the instance of the Supreme Court judgment to say that this would be in violation of the Supreme Court order, etc., etc. So there was, even the Chhattisgarh government at least publicly distanced itself from it. But the significant thing was the presence of IG of police of Bastar range, as well as the district collector at the meeting where Mahendra Karma announced the launching of. Now he has dropped Salwa Judum, but that doesn't matter. I mean, you can call Rose by any other name, but it still remains Rose. Similarly, Salwa Judum or something which is anti-people, aggression which is unleashed on civilians as they did in 2005, which have depopulated 640 villages in Bastar and drove out 3.5 lakh people from their homes, home and hearth. Many of them subjected to camps and all. Now, therefore, announcing this launching is also an indication of that the government is thinking also simultaneously, as it war against the Adivasis led primarily by the Maoists in this area have to be met, then you have to build another force also simultaneously on the ground. So as the war picks up, you'll find that the internecine nature or the civil war nature of the conflict that Adivasis fight amongst themselves is again being attempted to be launched.
You have raised a very important point. They call it Vikash Sangharsh Samiti. And he has also said that it will be a peaceful one, not the one which was brought into action in 2005. We also have Operation Green Hunt, which is going on the ground, the atrocities committed on the Adivasis and tribals, and we have also seen Land Acquisition Act coming into place, which has been brought by the new government. So can we find any link between all these things, Land Acquisition Act, Operation Green Hunt, and also suppressing voice of dissent?
It's very true, because if you look at it, the way in which in the last 1 year, many of the important laws which protect the interests, for instance, of the Adivasis or the peasantry each one of them, and especially where Adivasis are concerned, the Forest Rights Act, the Forest Conservation Act, I mean, other environmental protective act, the social consent which is required for acquiring XYZ, all these positions are being one by one being dismantled. It took years of struggle by people, and it took a war and Salwa Judum to remind and bring people back to realizing how dangerous this policy of the government was, which were taking the people for granted and thought that they could get away by imposing their will one way or another, either through fraud or by coercion, and enable opening up the forest and the mineral wealth lying under it to be exploited by big private corporations which depend on foreign direct investment, either in form of equity or debt, whichever way. Foreign money comes into it, and they would be investing only if they are assured of security of their investment. It is this that is being enabled. And the tweaking of the laws are also indicated of this. Now you look at it, I mean, in each of these areas, and not just in Bastar, even elsewhere you will find, for instance, then all the areas where the Adivasis are driven away under one pretext or the other happen to be those areas where rich finds have been located. And those are the areas. You look at the tweaking of or the changes that have been brought in the coal industry, the recent auction, the fact that leases have been increased from 30 to 50 years, the fact that auction money or the non-royalty part of the premium will accrue to the government only over 30 years. All this and now that the lease has been extended to 50 years automatically, it means that a massive onslaught by capital against people is being launched.
We also have a judiciary in our country which has an important role to play. We have cases of GN Sai Baba, who has been locked up into Nanda cell, 90% disabled man. Recently, a Kerala High Court gave the judgment that if you are ideologically supporting somebody, it does not mean that you are a Maoist and you should be arrested. So do you see a silver lining, or what role has judiciary has to play in all these things?
Kerala High Court judgment only endorses actually what happened in Mumbai High Court also, where Justice Kadju's statement, he said there can be no guilt by association. And the Kerala High Court said that being a Maoist itself is not a crime. So it's only when you commit an offense that you can be prosecuted, not otherwise, which is upholding that the right to preach and propagate one's ideology and belief and conviction is not something that can be taken away. The point is, even when the Supreme Court upholds it, I mean, now this has been challenged by the union government and the Assam government, and I'm sure the Kerala government will also go in appeal. PUDR, my organization that I'm connected with, has also requested the court to implead us in that same matter, because we are an interested party, since the government had tried to ensnare us also in their plan to silence all the dissenting voices. So I don't know what will happen in the court, but even if the judiciary comes out with it, it's a reality on the ground that we must also take into account, that despite judiciary saying repeatedly that there is no such notion as incriminating literature or banned literature, etc., despite that is used to foist cases against, as it is happening in the case of GN Sai Baba, for instance, and several others who have suffered also, or thousands of others who are rotting, I mean, who are political prisoners who are rotting in different parts of the country. And these are not just Maoists. I mean, you have Simi activists who have been also rotting in the jail in long drawn out procedures and prosecutions, etc., So it's a much bigger problem that we are confronted with. So even when the Supreme Court comes out with the judgment, at the lower level, at the level of those who file the case, file the FIR, do the investigation, frame the, prepare the charge sheet and start the trial, etc., those people, it doesn't matter, because there is another law which protects them. Each time people like GN Sai Baba and others, or Hem Mishra and others are picked up, they are picked up under concocted cases, as we discover after years of trial, and when the trial ends they'll get acquitted. But during the course, no action can be taken, primarily because we believe that every government servant is working in good faith, and that good faith protects them even when they foist cases, as we know. I mean, in our city alone, we have this experience of the special cell foisting, planting guns and explosives to incriminate Liaquat Ali Shah of Kashmir. So my point is that even when the Supreme Court does, and it's good that they, in individual cases, they acquit and they uphold also various rights and freedoms, unfortunately at the lower level, it doesn't, which results in years of incarceration, which itself is a punishment. And there the Supreme Court or the judiciary has not come to any aid of these under trials.
Thanks, Gautam, for giving us your time. As the things proceed, we will be coming back to you on such issues. Thank you for watching Newsclick.